Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to what we would futurely calling the Yoku Masaki Podcast Show, or the Yoku Masaki Show, as we'll probably call it. I am your host, the cat-eared extraordinaire. Today is Tuesday, March 7th, 2017, and hello, world. This is pretty much a prologue episode of what's going to be of the Yoku Masaki Show, because the format may be a little changed, maybe a little bit different than what you would expect it to be in future episodes. But I wanted to do this because I wanted to give you guys a good gist of what will be of the Yoku Masaki Show in the near coming future. But first off, why in the fuck is it called the Yoku Masaki Show when 78% of you on Twitter voted for Jirai Radio? And I'll have to explain that to you guys. Basically, I found out that Jirai Radio was taken. That's pretty much the gist of it. Jirai Radio was taken, and I couldn't use it. So I found out that Jirai Radio is taken, and my other selection was the Yoku Masaki Show. Now, don't get me wrong, this will not just always be me hosting the Yoku Masaki Show. There will be times that the show will change time to time. If I can come up with a better name than the Yoku Masaki Show, then I'll probably use that. But for right now, I figure the Yoku Masaki Show will be its temporary name because I feel I'm most likely going to be able to do most of the episodes of the show. And if it ever comes to the point the name changes, then the show will probably change, if anything. And as of right now, I'm still getting things prepped up. So the Yoku Masaki Show is now its name. So what will the Yoku Masaki Show be about? And also, you're also figuring out the fact, for those who have also known for years ago, you had a podcast before. Well, you started one, you tried to start one, but it never really launched the way you wanted it to. And for those who've been with me for the longest, yes, that's true. I tried to start one back, I think, 3-4 years ago. Originally, it was called the Black and Red Cat Radio Podcast, and I didn't really turn out the way it was because I was still fresh and new in the game and had not an idea of what a podcast was about. So I tried to give it a test run, and that was pretty much my pilot. Like TV shows have pilots, that was my pilot. It was a pitch. It was that idea of the show. And unfortunately, it didn't go the way it wanted to. Then I met someone who I thought would be a potential soulmate of mine, a girl from Lufkin, Texas. Many of you may not know who she is. Maybe if you may not even give a shit who she is. And I really don't feel like bringing her name up in this situation. A lot of you people who follow me since my music career and early on in my internet career know that when it comes to love, it's very influential for me in my musical career. So that's pretty the gist of what it was. So when it comes to the love, it influenced me in many ways to the point where my musical projects have influenced in that case. And unfortunately, those same relationships end up being turmoil or fabrications of that case, and I end up regretting it in the long run. I'm a hopeless romantic. What can I say? And that's when I decided to just cancel that. But originally, during that time with that so-called woman of my potential interest, I decided to rebrand the pilot into a pairing of a podcast series called The Dynamic Duo. And basically, it was because of the fact of me and this girl were very interested in each other. And it was also the fact that we were going to start a podcast together and even come to the point where we would communicate with each other via Skype or such. And it would come to the point where we will also record episodes and talk about our love of comic books. And our love at the time of that was influential to the Batman comic books. But again, turns out that love was nothing more than a fabrication. Stupid, stupid Yoku. So I said to myself, I have to focus on me. For the last 5-6 years, focused on myself and my career, which has now been transplanted instead of music to photography. I've gotten several publications, as you might have seen on the internet. I've gotten various attention from many people in the industry of the photography and modeling industry, and publication industry. I have even come to the somewhat point of becoming very successful in my photography career, being very well known in it, rebranding my company from Hoodlum Ribble Music Group to now Jiraiya Media, which is now focused on my photography. And, just enjoying who I am, getting very networks, meeting some of the people in this industry of the internet that I've always wanted to meet, and hopefully we'll be growing that in the future. So, as of right now, I've been focused on that, my photography, my gaming, which twitch.tv/Yoku Masaki, if you ever check out my streams, sponsorships, and pretty much now this. This will be, again, a series that will be focused on that. Now, you're probably thinking, this will probably be another nerdy podcast that will talk about the same focus on things. Either he'll talk about politics and certain things like that, or he'll talk about the same elements that make a nerd or a geek who they are. Video games, comic books, movies, television shows, cartoons, the whole spiel. That's part true. But I feel like this is a good outlet for me to talk about random shit. Because many ways in podcasts, I've seen some of the greats in podcasts, from Mark Marone to Greg Miller and Kinda Funny to Kevin Smith, one of my favorite directors of all time, start podcasting just to ramble, to talk about random things in the world that they see, their experience, they dealt with, and sometimes influence who they themselves are. So I figured maybe I should do the same thing. I am born with mental disabilities, as you may have known, which is autism. And one of my unfortunate situations is socializing. I'm an antisocial person, introvert, they say. But I've started to grow within the 20 years I've had this disability to be more spoken, sometimes a little too outspoken, to the point where people have considered me being a chatterbox of some sorts. And now, full circle within that, I feel like this would be the perfect outlet for me to speak my mind with no limitations, no breaks, no restrictions of such. I don't have a schedule yet on what the series will be, on when it will be. Sometimes I might consider maybe a weekdays, weeknights. It may come to the point that I even have it on the weekends. Who knows? It will depend on my schedule, but it will also depend on what you guys expect me to talk about. This is also another way for me to talk in the media for you guys, since YouTube has been a love-hate relationship, and since YouTube has been changing for not for the good and somewhat for the bad for some YouTubers out there, to the point that they have to change their plateau and many things that they have. I figured this will be an easier route that I won't have to worry about changing things. So, with the Yoku Masaki Show, you will hear some of the same stuff that maybe from other people. There may be maybe times I'll even do that. In the future, hopefully, when things are set up, I will also have the opportunity to have video broadcasting on the podcast as well as recordings. As of right now, I'm pretty much using an app to record this epilogue of a podcast. I don't remember which one it is. I know it sounds stupid that I don't know the difference between prologue and epilogue, but please bear with me. This has all been rambling to the moment because I've been really wanting to mention about this for the longest. And it may come to the point that I will talk about not only the nerdiest stuff that I love, that I adore, but I will also talk about things that I can't talk about on YouTube that will get me restricted, things that I can't talk about on my YouTube channel. But fear not. You're probably saying, Yoku, if this does go successful, better than your YouTube, better than anything else that you've done aside from your photography, will there be a reach for all of us to hear this? Yes. If coming times, this series does very well to the point where I will get broadcasting on apps and very much media outlets. There will be also the opportunity for the rest of the world to hear this live streaming on my Twitch if I will have that set up, as well as hopefully I will have set up on my YouTube channel for all to hear, because I feel everyone deserves to hear my voice and talk about the shit I have to think about instead of just talking about it. And also the real reason is I write horribly because of my disability, and I can't type much for shit unless it's random important stuff. I focus too much on my writing, on typing, and I focus too less on my handwriting. Trust me, my handwriting sounds like chicken. It looks like chicken shit. You really don't want to read my writing. It's bad enough I can't even write a love letter to a girl because my writing is atrocious. It's something of a preschooler's. But it's been like that for the last 30-something years, and trust me, you don't even want to know that whole story. Maybe I'll save that for another time. But aside from that, I just want people to know that I will be on this show. There will be guests, hopefully, depending on how successful this show is, I will have guests appearing on the show. I also hoped in the future that I will have special guests on the show, bigger names out there, maybe people I personally feel on the show. It won't just be guests that many of you would like to see on the show or hear on the show. It will be guests that you will expect to not expect on the show. People that I have known throughout my years. There is also one person that will be co-hosting the show with me. I do have one person in mind because I feel this best way to express about this podcast that is coming will be something of a better idea in the case of it. And I feel the perfect person to do that is someone who's known me for 5 years. I consider him my milky light-skinned brother. He has been holding me down for the longest. We've had many conversations late night over the rambling on the same spiel from people so many times. And I feel he's the best person to be my partner. And you will hear him in the future in another episode, in one of the broadcasting episodes, or maybe the premiere episode in the future. And that's my good friend Mark Ultimus, aka Lead the Way. You might have been familiar with him if you've been to several conventions in the East Coast, from Dragon Con to MagFest to ColossaCon. You might have remembered him as Dr. Horrible, a very talented Dr. Horrible cosplayer from Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog. He has also been one of my closest friends, and I think he is the perfect person to be my co-host for this future podcast. So you will hear him in future episodes. Make no mistake about that. Also, like I said, in the coming months, once I have things set up, I will also have a video broadcasting of the podcast, as well as live streaming broadcasting of the podcast as well. Once I have things in order, that's in construction as we speak. But as of right now, the first few episodes will be available, as you can hear, just in streaming audio format. And I hope that you guys will continue to hear this. There will be times I may ask you guys for topics. There may be times that I will be bringing up topics just on a random. But I hope you guys will listen to this and get to hear my point of view on many things that come on. There may be times I'll even bring up politics and other things of that nature. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hearing this. Hopefully the first episode will be coming soon. I hope you guys will enjoy this podcast soon. But as always, until the next time, and I bring you my future episode, this is Yoku Masaki signing off saying later days.